Yo,
What up?
what's going on, man? It's been forever.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Look, life gets so crazy, and we recorded once or twice maybe since I had some big life events. My dad had a pretty substantial open heart surgery. He's doing well. Actually, just got cleared for rehab, so we're on the up and up with that. And then so I've been spending my free time during the weekends trying to help take care of his property, stuff like that. So it just really limits the amount of free time we've had to record, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I know you've had a lot going on too, with just different things in life, and life just kind of has a funny way of kind of getting in the way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It definitely does.
Uh,
And we've powered through and we're out on the other side now and we're working towards what's coming forward and we'll see how things go this summer.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, hopefully we can throw down some more content and get back at it, kind of get back in the saddle. We're going to talk, kind of old school this episode. We're going to do a traditional Noise Brigade episode that you and I did many, many times over the years. We'll talk a little Philly sports. We're going to talk about the state of play that's coming up here for the PlayStation, and we'll dive into some other things. We'll even have a little cryptid chatter. I did want to say before we jump into anything, we record this as we're recording this. It was a few hours ago, and look, we don't talk NASCAR ever on this. I'd be remiss to say though that it's really sad to hear the passing of Kyle Busch, and really, it's always difficult to see, you know, someone pass away. It's a little bit tougher whenever they're younger than you. Look, the man, 41 years old, family man, uh, you know, kind of sudden. I went into the hospital with an illness, and a couple days later, just that was it.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I
Yeah,
had no clue.
yeah, it was kind of recent, man, and I only bring it up because I've actually been to a couple NASCAR events in my life, and the last one I was at was with one of my good friends. He's been on the show a few times, Kyler. This was many, many years ago. Kyle Busch won that event. And we've had this long ongoing joke for years. After the race had ended, we were getting ready to exit, and there was, NASCAR. What people do is drink. That's just that NASCAR. It was the craziest thing because they're going to a sporting event, bringing a cooler full of alcohol. It's the most wild time. But um, there was a gentleman. He was older, and he would just was saying over and over again, anybody but Kyle Busch, anybody. And he was just three sheets to the wind, did not want Kyle to win. And it's been kind of an inside joke between myself and Kyler and his dad for a lot of years. And so whenever I saw that, I was like, oh man, that's crazy. And then I looked it up. He's 41. It's like, good Lord. Like, so yeah, had to say that rest in peace, Kyle. And I really just hate that for the family. I mean, it's just crazy. You never know. You never know.
Yeah,
Life's very
we never
fickle.
know. That it is.
So, all right. What do you want to jump into first, man?
Let's not necessarily on the schedule, but let's drop a little bit of Xbox. Sorry to I'm
No, we're
already
hey,
going
I
off
dropped
the
the Kyle
script.
Busch news on you. You might as well drop some Xbox stuff out here because this is going to be a lot of you because I haven't had an Xbox since the 360.
Yeah, so well, all that I know that they're going to be doing a kind of like a state of play. I don't remember what they call it. I guess maybe like an Xbox showcase or something like that. And they're going to be talking about Gears of War E-Day, which is basically a prequel to the Gears of War series, which Gears of War is one of my favorite series of all time.
Mhm.
I'm super stoked about it. And I'm really what they're supposed to announce is a release date and all that stuff. And I'm really hoping that they're going to announce that much like Gears of War Reloaded or whatever the remake was called, that it's going to come to PlayStation because I don't have an Xbox Series X or Series S, and I really want to play this game. So I'm hoping that one of the things that Asha Sharma, or I think that's her name, hopefully I got it right, has been
Yeah, you
talking
did.
about,
Yeah, the new CEO.
yeah, is rebuilding Xbox. And what I'm hoping is that they're not reclaiming their titles, because the toothpaste is kind of out of the tube as far as Halo, Fable, Gears of War, all these games, Forza, all these games have been released on PlayStation 5. And I really hope they don't try and retract that and kind of, pull the carpet out from under the PlayStation players that were like, oh, dude, we're finally getting good games, you know? And I say that as a half-hearted jab at PlayStation fans, which I shouldn't, because the system's sitting in my living room right now, the PlayStation 5 Pro.
No,
So,
but you're not wrong though. I mean, there's been a lot of history with excellent titles that were exclusive to the Xbox. That you pretty much just rattled off, the lot of them there. But you're talking about several games in those series, Halo, Forza, those core things that were for years solely exclusive to the Xbox. And now you see things starting to trickle over. You and I have talked about this off pod, but a game like Starfield,
yes.
Which was an Xbox exclusive. Looking at it, and it landed on the PlayStation here a couple months ago. So, you're right. It's like, hey, let's hope this rug isn't pulled from underneath us, because there are games I would love to play that I have not had the ability to, because like I said, I've not had an Xbox since the 360. So
yeah, so I'm hoping that they don't kind of try and reel it back in, because I'm really looking forward to the next Halo game. I'm looking forward to the next to Gears of War E-Day, and playing them on my PlayStation. Because I really don't want to get an Xbox again. They're so expensive. All systems are expensive. It's not just that. I mean, hell, PlayStation is the most expensive, and they're seeing their sales crater at this point. If I don't know if you've seen that news at all, but since the prices have raised, their sales have dropped, like, I want to say like 50% or something like that.
I mean, it
Console
makes sense.
sales.
I mean, you're getting to a point, and we've talked about this, and we'll talk about this again more in long form. But you're getting to a point where these consoles, which were supposed to be basically a cheaper alternative to PC gaming, is where that sat at for many years. And I say that, we could hash it out with talking about, oh, well, you can build a cheaper PC and blah blah blah. Look, I'm talking about building a midline to almost state of the art PC is going to cost you well more than a console is going to cost you, and it still is now. But now these consoles are touching $1,000. It's like, at some point you're going to have to cross that bridge of, where's your audience at here? Because you've made this comment before, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. You're starting to price out your audience at that point, and they're going to look at, well, maybe I'm going to be staying with my PlayStation 4. Maybe I'm going to be sticking with my, whatever, I'm not going to be willing to pump out the $1,000 for the 5, or the God knows what it's going to be for the PS6 or whatever comes out next.
Right. Well, and that's exactly why I upgraded to the PS5 Pro, because I know that this is the system that I'm going to have for a long time, because I'm not going to be able to afford to get a PlayStation 6 or an Xbox. They're calling it, I don't remember if it's Project Helix or Codename Helix or whatever it is. It's something Helix. But I'm not anticipating being able to afford that stuff for a while, until there's actually a price drop. Listen, consoles are not supposed to be an appreciating asset. All right.
Right.
Every console generation prior to this one, consoles have gone down in price as they've aged. This is the first console generation in history where the consoles, while they're still being produced, have been going up in price.
Yeah. And unless it's some collectible item, like your Jaguars, your things like that, over time, those might actually, gain value. But you're exactly right. Your mass produced, your Xboxes, your in that line, your PS2s, your threes, those they were I hate to say a dime a dozen. And you can walk into any game store now and find so much software and hardware that's still not bad. It's still very reasonable, and it's quite a bit cheaper than when the release was. But yeah, you're exactly right. The I could probably turn my PS5 right now as it is and basically get all my money back and might actually make money on it. That's not supposed to happen. I've had it for 5 years.
Right. And like, just for instance, I'm going to pull up on GameStop right now how much a PS5 trades in for. So, I mean, GameStop's probably not the best,
No.
probably not the best barometer of what a system's worth.
No, but it's the most common, and I think for anyone that does listen to this, I mean, that's we can't say, oh yeah, well Joe's Game Store down the road said they're going to give me $50 more.
Right. But like, all right, so $302 in store credit for a PS5 Slim with a disk drive right now.
What about the regular PS5?
So like a standard launch edition?
Yeah.
So your launch edition PS5 is going for, let me see if this one has a disc or not. It doesn't tell me if it has a disc. That's the only issue.
That's fine. Just curious.
$270.
Okay. All right. So basically you're in that $300 range, which is crazy. So like right now, I could probably sit down right now if I wanted to grab some store credit and fish mine out for about $300, maybe a little bit more, because I do have upgraded storage on it. But knowing what storage is going for on those things, I'd probably rip that out.
Oh yeah. You want to sell that separate.
And it was wild too, man. When I put mine in there, it was almost darn near the price of what the PlayStation was itself. So I was already into it for darn near $1,000 to start off with.
Wow. Good Lord.
It was because it was, if I remember correctly, it was 2 terabyte was like $4.25.
Wow.
It was stupid high, but you were talking about, it was that COVID time. I mean, things were goofy, and I was, hardcore about buying like name brand stuff too. So, it still works.
Now
still works.
Now a Bobo brand will cost you $4.25.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I put a, I have to look up the exact one, but it was the, more upper echelon Seagate, whatever the I don't know, neither here nor there. You're exactly right though. Things have gotten out of hand in that world, and hopefully you're right that this Xbox showcase, which looks to be on June 7th, if I'm not mistaken, based on what I'm seeing. Am I right on that?
I believe you are correct on that, sir.
So maybe, like you said, let's hope they stay nice to the Sony folks, and hopefully we'll have some cool, other news announced. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but let's talk some Sony. And first of all, one of the big announcements that came out today was that Sony, Bungie, who is a subsidiary of Sony, is no longer going to support. I shouldn't say they're not going to support, but they're not releasing any more updates for Destiny 2.
Really?
After June 9th, I believe.
Wow.
I believe that's the last update. And that game has been going since 2017 or
has it been that long? Because I played Destiny 2 for a while when it first came out. Because actually I bought to 2017. I bought a PS4 Pro, and I want to say that came with a digital, or I can't remember. It was a digital or a physical. It came with a copy of the game, one or the other. I can't remember which one. And so then, of course, I played it for quite some time. But it's been, I don't know, probably 6 years or so since I've touched it.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
2017. So you're talking what, 16? So yeah, 9 years.
Yeah, which is a good. I mean, it's a good long run. Obviously, you're probably not still playing vanilla Destiny 2. You had to have upgraded with some of the expansion packs and stuff. But um, it was a super fun game. I had a lot of fun with it. Played a ton between Xbox and PlayStation. Um, I definitely got my money's worth out of it. So I'm sad to see it go, but hopefully that means that Bungie's going to be working on something better than Marathon, because Marathon has fallen on its face.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know much about Marathon, so I've kind of stepped away from following a lot of that. So I don't have any spot to speak. But I will say this before we dive in hard on this state of play that looks to be June 2nd, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So you tuned me into the Polygon.com article. And I will say this: go out of your way, look up this state of play article, and just get this glimpse of Wolverine. I'm going to leave it with you, my friend. It's awesome. Just the
Yeah.
picture. That's all I need is the picture.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, Wolverine has always been one of my favorite characters. Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America, Daredevil. Those have been my heroes. And this game has been, it looks like, from what I've seen, everything I've been waiting for in a Wolverine video game. And the only thing I'll say that's not cool is it looks like there's some stealth, and I'm famously not a stealth person. In video games, as much as I'm not a stealth person in life, I just kind of barge in and, do what needs to be done. Yeah, this game, it looks amazing. The graphics look great. The guy that's voicing Wolverine does a fantastic job. And it's from Insomniac, who does the Spider-Man games, and the Spider-Man games are fantastic. So I can only imagine what this game is going to be like. I'm very, very excited to see it, and it's been delayed and delayed and delayed, and it's finally coming out. I believe September 15th is the release date.
That's what I'm saying, and it's a 5-year development. This development cycle for this started 2021, so. Yeah, I've got high hopes for this one too. And the Spider-Man games, they were basically like, hey, this is what the PlayStation is capable of. If you're talking about it like graphically and just very, very beautiful games in that realm. And this, I think that's what caught my attention. Just looking at the first screenshot of this Marvel Wolverine game, man, it just. Boy, and then you can click in and you can start obviously search around, but some of these screens, my goodness, and they're very simplistic shots, but my gosh, it's going to be a beautiful game.
Oh yeah, and hopefully it's a little easier to play, and maybe it's a skill issue on my part. I found the Spider-Man games to be pretty hard, so I'm hoping that it was just that those games are indeed hard, and that Wolverine is not as hard.
Well, he's got claws at least. Slash.
Yeah. I mean, Wolverine's a little bit more of a tanky guy. He's a brawler. He's got the skill, but he's not as much of a strike and move, like a quick stick and move guy.
Yeah,
as Spider-Man is.
Yeah, in Spider-Man, you gotta you're swinging around a lot. There's a lot of different mechanics going on, and it's this, that's the part that I kind of wonder with the stealth part. I'm thinking to myself, surely it's just going to be like certain parts of the game. Because
it's the whole game can't be stealth. It's Wolverine.
No, I mean, Wolverine by nature. Look at the animal. I've never known anyone to say, you know what, that Wolverine is stealthy.
Yeah. So hopefully, hopefully it's a little. I'm sure it's going to be a ton of action. Like I'm 100% sure on that. But I just hope that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not going to be stealthy at all. Maybe it is just going to be balls to the wall action, like hack and slash. But it looked like from the screenshots and stuff that I was seeing that maybe there's some sneaky stuff.
And there could be.
I'm not so good with the sneaky.
Yeah, I'm not either. It's a patience thing. Although, like years ago, we've talked about this before. I loved games like Thief. Always enjoyed those because they were pure stealth. But then as time went on, it was like, I kind of like to just barge in, Juggernaut style.
Yeah, I'm the Juggernaut.
Exactly.
It's like our boy Frank Reynolds. So anyway, I start blasting.
Exactly. So anyway, start blasting. That's another one. That's the Batman game. You had sent Rich and I, who we'll get Rich back on eventually, one of these decades. But you had sent Rich and I a little screenshot of the Batman Lego Batman game, right?
Yeah.
And they played a little homage to It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the Penguin. I don't know if I don't think he's voiced by Danny DeVito in the game, but he's famously Danny DeVito played the Penguin in Batman Returns, and in the Penguin fight, he apparently at some point says, "Anyway, I start blasting."
It's so good.
It made my day. Like, I'm not a Lego game guy at all. I don't know what it is. Like, they seem fun enough, but it's just not my game. But that might make me want to play it.
I tell you what, man, I've played a little bit of the Lego games. My kids adore the Lego Movie video game. They love that one. They played a little bit of the second movie one, but we tried to touch some of the superhero ones because I was curious. And there's one of the Marvel ones that's pretty good. That was okay. It's cool because there's so many different superheroes in it, right? A lot of different characters you could play. And that's kind of the fun part. It's like, well, 1 minute you can be the Hulk, and the next minute you can be Cap, and it's fun because you can kind of roam around that way. But by and large, you're right, though. I mean, it's like they're fun games, but not my cup of tea either. And I'm just not. I see that maybe I'm just kind of stuck, and maybe I'm old. I just kind of see that. Yeah, it's kids. I hate to say that, but that's kind of my perception of it.
But all right, so then looking at some of the other games we've got coming out here. So there's going to be a God of War trilogy remake, which, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there a God of War trilogy remake on the PS4 or PS3?
I thought so. I don't really, I'm pretty certain you're correct on that. I don't know enough about the God of War stuff outside of randomly playing a character in different games. Where was it Kratos?
Yes.
Shows up in Brawl Stars or games like that. Like, that's my God of War experience outside of saying I never really played the game, so I don't have a frame of reference there.
Dude, I'll tell you what, speaking of which, I wish that PlayStation or that Sony would come out with another one of those. What was it? Sony, what the hell was their Smash Brothers clone?
Yeah, it was it Brawl Stars?
Was it Brawl Stars?
I think so. Yeah, Brawl Stars. Or All Stars Battle Royale. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was All Stars Battle, and it was a PS4 game, or no, I'm sorry, it was PS3 game, and it was it was like a Battle Royale, like Smash type game, fighter, and you had like characters from the different Sony series in it. So Sackboy, we talked about God of War, Fat Princess, those sorts of characters. I think Sweet Tooth's in it as well.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. I would love to see a sequel to that. And maybe I'm the only one, but I remember having fun with that game.
Yeah, it's a fun game. We've got a copy of it, and it's if you still have a PS3, you can find a copy for like $10. It's not an expensive title, but yeah, no, yeah, and but I'm not kidding you. That was basically my experience with the God of War series. It just wasn't anything that I dove into. Why, I don't know. It just wasn't maybe for me.
Well, the original trilogy, if I remember correctly, it was kind of like a little bit edgelordy. Um, there was like shock value just for the sake of shock value. Like there were sex mini games and stuff like that. Like super like incel shit. For,
Right.
stuff that like I'm not, you're not, like people like us, we're just not really like, oh man, I can't wait to do the sex quick time mini game. Like that's a little embarrassing to be playing, to be honest with you. I think the two God of War games that came out for PS4 and PS5, the Ragnarok and the other one that I think was just called God of War, that were basically like rebooting the series. I think that they're much more I don't want to say grounded, because you're still, a Greek god killing other Greek
Right.
gods and
You're
stuff.
doing whatever you want, basically.
Right. Like, but it's not as over the edge as the other the original trilogy.
Right.
So those games, I forget which one. I think I own Ragnarok because it came as a digital download with my friend's PlayStation, and they gave it to me. So I have that. I haven't played it. Peyton played it, and Peyton really enjoyed it. But I still haven't gotten into it as much as I want to. But that's so they're off track, but they're doing a God of War trilogy remake. It's going to be in this state of play. Naughty Dog's doing the Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, which
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Guerrilla Games will be presenting Horizon Hunters Gathering, which I can only assume is a spinoff of, or maybe a sequel to, Horizon Zero Dawn, which is another game that I haven't played. But
So the Horizon game, I'll touch base on this real quick. So again, we're pulling this information, Polygon.com. I guess it's supposed to be a co-op that is apparently nothing like other Horizon games. So there you go.
Okay. And then Sony's rumored to be working on a new God of War spin-off game, which hopefully will be better received than the last God of War spin-off game that they released, which was in the last state of play. Did you see anything about that? It was like a Metroidvania.
No, I didn't. I've quickly did a little research here on this spin-off though, and it's looks to be a Goddess of War spin-off. So I guess it's going to focus on female character, Faye. Again, I'm speaking from looking at a couple of articles here with absolutely no real base knowledge. So my apologies if we have a lot of God of War fans listening to this. I don't mean to.
They turned it off.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mean to offend
it off
you.
When I called them incels.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But then we've got a modern version of the Infamous franchise, which I don't. Did you play Infamous at all?
Very little. And I think there was a digital download at some point in this last how long I've had the PlayStation Plus stuff. I want to say that there was a digital download or a video I watched, and I thought about downloading it type thing. Like that was about, again, you're talking about a few minutes in. So I have a little bit more familiarity than God of War.
So remember the PlayStation Network data breach back in, God, I don't remember what year it was, but I know it was when the PS3 was out.
Yes.
So remember how the make good was, we're going to give you 2 free games?
Well, that was one of them, wasn't it?
I took Infamous as one of mine.
That's okay.
and I played the shit out of that game. It was super fun, so much so that when I got a PS4, that was one of the first games I got, was the infamous game that came out around the launch of PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a lot of fun with that game too. So I'm all on board with a new Infamous game.
Yeah, I remember whenever the first game hit too, because it had some really cool, like, there's a difference to it. Like it felt cool, it kind of felt to me when I first remember seeing the trailer is probably the bad word for it, but first seeing articles about it or whatever, it reminded me of, like, and again, I'm not trying to say that these games are comparative. I'm just saying, like, something fresh. Like whenever you play Crackdown first time, you're like, "Ooh, this is fresh. It's fun." I'm going to assume that your experience. Again, I'm not saying they're comparable games. I'm just saying that, like, in the terms of, like, what you're describing, like, Infamous was like, "Hey, this is a fun, fresh experience."
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, and dude, in Crackdown, God, if we could get a Crackdown that does it right, that does it like the original Crackdown did it, I want another one of those too, because that was a game I remember buying that to play. What game was it? There was a Halo game. Maybe it was Halo 3. You could get into the demo or into the beta of if you bought Crackdown on the 360. And I remember getting that game because I remember playing the demo and loving the demo. And then they announced, oh, yeah, well, if you buy Crackdown, you get into the Halo 3 beta. And so those two things combined, I was like, okay, cool, I'm in. And I ended up getting the full game, blasted through it in a weekend, got it on like a Friday after work, and just blasted through the game that weekend and did everything that I could do in the game. I don't even think I ended up playing the Halo beta because I was so enraptured by playing Crackdown.
Yeah, and I can go back now, and like I said, the last Microsoft console I owned was a 360, and man, Crackdown was like a top 3 title for me. Like Crackdown, and I was big on, like, the Dead Rising stuff. So, like, those are the games I played a lot of, and I was just starting, like, career-wise at that point. It's kind of finishing off college and starting off, career-wise. So I didn't have a whole lot of money, and not that I do now, but that I was kind of fixated on a couple, and Crackdown was one of them. And I think it was so different too. It was one that I don't remember burning through it as quickly as you did, but I remember going through and beating it, and was like, wow, this is just so fun. And I had not recalled playing a game like that before. So
There's a little dopamine hit of finding all the orbs and everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, it was just, so fun. I played through, I started playing through it. What system was it on? Because Microsoft has made almost all their systems backwards compatible. And so I've been playing it, and I wonder if my save file is still on my Xbox. Because you can play it on an Xbox One and Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So it was 2007. It was launched on the 360. Had been actually, what's funny, looking at the history of it, it was actually planned for the original Xbox.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, and then they had the misstep of for the Xbox One, the version of Crackdown that came out, which you call it Crackdown 3, I think. I think it was called Crackdown 3. I don't remember if it was Crackdown 3 or if they just restarted it as Crackdown. It originally was supposed to have a persistent city, and the way that it was going to work was they were going to offload part of the whole start of the Xbox One, and the issues people had was it was supposed to always need an internet connection. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason was they were going to offload some of the computing power and do like early cloud gaming, where it was going to keep your city persistent. So if you went through and you destroyed a city block, you would go back and it would still be destroyed and stuff like that. So obviously that all fell apart and they reworked the game, and I don't know exactly how things worked out because I don't think I even played that one.
Well, I need to read you this line because this is sometimes how my mind works. Remember, I say this. We opened up this Crackdown conversation with me doing a non-comparative comparison with Infamous, right?
Right.
This is in the Wikipedia page. And I will start this mid-sentence here. Its formula of controlling superpowered beings in a massive sandbox environment, using their abilities to cause mayhem and destruction, as well as collecting orbs in an open-world environment to increase a character's abilities, have influenced other video game series such as Infamous, Prototype, Saints Row, blah, 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 blah. I just thought it was so funny that the first one literally mentioned is Infamous.
Yes.
And maybe that's how my mind works. Maybe I thought, there's a lot of similarities there. I don't know.
Oh, there is. And both games are super fun. I highly recommend them if you haven't played them. You can probably skip Crackdown 2. It wasn't as fun. I remember getting all the way to the end, getting to the last boss, and not being able to beat the last boss. And I played it for a week straight just trying to beat that last boss, and I never did.
The Saints Row influence makes a lot of sense. That was another one that I was like, wow. But then and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Saints Row, which I still adore into a point, kind of went down that GTA path a little bit. So it was kind of like, well, it's not WCW, WWF,
Well, Saints Row went off the freaking deep end by Saints Row 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like aliens and superheroes, and you get trapped in a simulation in the game, where you can hack the simulation and give yourself superpowers, and then they go to hell. And it goes way, way, way off the rails.
Like I said, it goes off and I made the Grand Theft Auto comparison because if you've ever watched videos, I don't play it online, but go to the GTA Online world, and it's just wacky, just outlandish stuff. It's like there's nothing is realistic anymore. Like, hey, yeah, I've got my flying motorcycle. That's like a Saints Row thing to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we're at with that. And apparently the new Saints Row game that came out is absolute garbage. So the less said about that, the better.
Yeah. But heading back on the state of play, looks like if you're looking at third-party titles, according to this Polygon article, looking for some updates from Kingdom Hearts 4. And then this just cracks me up. Final Fantasy VII Remake's third chapter. Look, at this point, I know that we're probably bound to just really piss off every branch of the video game audience at this point. But come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, they broke it down into 3 parts. One game gets broken down into 3 parts. I get it. It was how many discs on the original PlayStation?
It's a remake of the game. It's a chapter of the remake.
Right.
It's not come on.
And I get they supposedly put a ton of content into each chapter. This is, I guess, the final portion of it, if I understand correctly. And so, but it's 40 plus hours each one. So you're still talking, if you bought all, if you buy them all, you're still talking 120 hours of content plus, depending upon how quickly you play the game. And I could be off on that. It could be more than that. But so I feel like you're getting your money's worth, but golly, how are you going to break a game up into three? Like, now here's my question. So, okay, you expanded everything. You made it all so that you've got to buy this game in 3 parts. Are you putting the entire fucking game on the discs, or are these just keys, game keys on the fucking disc?
You know what's crazy? We've talked so many times over the years about giving Bethesda crap for selling and reselling Skyrim to me because I bought it so many times. However, I really want to know, the profits on how many times friggin' Square Enix has made money off of Final Fantasy VII. Because I'm sorry, but this is crazy. Like,
yeah.
They've remade it. They've done this. They've done that with it. I don't know.
And I've still never played it.
See, now I've played the original Final Fantasy VII. Back on the PlayStation, like when that was fresh, and it was like mind blowing. It was awesome. And I 2 discs. I can't remember. Great game. I downloaded the remake, remaster, whatever. I don't even know at this point. One of the iterations of it a few years ago for a more current. I can't remember what console it was. Maybe the PS4. I don't remember. Neither here nor there. I played it a little bit and was like, okay, this is cool. This wasn't cool to me like it was all those years ago. So I never finished it again. I finished it back then, but it just, again, I'm sitting here just gonna rattle off and piss off, the Final Fantasy VII folks. But look, excellent title, excellent game. But to see this many iterations of it, whatever, Capcom also has got Onimusha and Mega Man entries. I don't know if we're going to get any news on those from this state of play. So,
yeah, apparently McDonald's is doing a crossover with Capcom for Mega Man.
Is this? Where's the punchline?
No, there's no punchline.
Okay, darn. There's a joke coming here.
No. Apparently, they're getting ready to release some kind of. I don't know if it'll be at the state of play or not, but they're going to do some kind of crossover. So I'm look. I like Mega Man. I'm terrible at Mega Man games. I like the idea of being good at Mega Man games. Mega Man 2 is one of my favorite games, even though
they're so hard
at it. Yeah,
dude, Mega Man games are hard.
I'll tell you when I was good at Mega Man games was when they got re-released for the PSP. When Mega Man X got re-released for the PSP, and when the original Mega Man got released for the PSP as Mega Man Powered Up. For some reason, I was good at those ones, but I was only good to a certain point. Like,
those games are awesome, and I love, heck, I was probably only ever good with them if I used a Game Genie, but those were cool. Again, we talk about fresh games, like you mentioned with the infamous Crackdown, whatever. Those are fun because it's like, ooh, I'm gonna fight Woodman, I'm gonna fight whoever. But now you see the crossover with McDonald's, and I'm like, is he gonna fight Nugget Man? Like, what?
Like the Nugget Blaster.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's going on here? No, that's cool though. And it's so who knows if we see anything announced from their state of play. And isn't there a direct somewhere in there as well? Or
rumors are June 6th.
Okay, wow. So yeah, you're hitting the first week of June here. We're gonna possibly see some Nintendo stuff too. I don't have anything pulled up. Do you have anything? And Nintendo's like
I have
close.
nothing on the direct. All I just remember seeing a date on YouTube, and I didn't click on the link, but it said Nintendo Direct June 6th ?
Yeah, and Nintendo plays everything so close to the chest anyway. So
yeah, but let's change subjects here. Do we want to go sports or do we want to go Jersey Devil?
Let's go Jersey Devil, and then we'll shut off some sports. How about that?
Sounds good. So we missed the Jersey Devil Fable Festival, which was in Asbury Park, and I'm pretty upset by this because apparently it's been going on since 2019, I think. But it was it looks like it was pretty cool. They had all kinds of like what are they called? Why can't I think of words here? Oh no, this one. Wait a second. So there's two of them.
Wait. So the one I'm looking at here is the Jersey Devil Fable Festival, Asbury Park, and it just happened the first weekend of this month.
Yeah, nah, I was wrong. I thought that there was. See, it had been in September before or October before, and now it's it's in May.
But it's basically, it's Jersey Devil Fable Festival, and look, Jersey and it has a lovely history with the strange, the unusual, stuff that we like to talk about, and obviously to us the most famous cryptid, the Jersey Devil. But look, one of these days we're gonna dive right back in. We've done cryptids on a few different episodes before, and it's something that I think is near and dear to both you and I. And we're gonna dive back in, and you know what? Maybe we should just do let's get several people on and just do a full blown Jersey Devil, like hardcore deep dive.
Yeah,
I think that would be
I'm
fun
about it
because we've done the Jersey Devil. I think some good due diligence over the years, but yeah, I'm with you though on this festival. That'd be awesome. Just
yeah. So there's that's what it vendors. That's the word I couldn't think of. That really tough multi-syllable word. So there's a ton of vendors and craftspeople who were making folklore themed art, potions, and handmade goods. There was a film festival holding multiple screenings of independent horror, folklore, and cryptid focused films. There was an area called the Pod Barrens, which is a takeoff of, if you're not from Jersey, the Pine Barrens, which is where the Jersey Devil lives. And that was filled with live podcasts, discussions with fans, and storytelling sessions about ghosts and strange phenomena. And there was the March of the Cryptids, which was a costume parade for pets and people, complete with prizes and photo ops. So, dude, this is right up our fucking alley, and we completely, I know you were dealing with stuff. I was dealing with some things as well, and we obviously couldn't make it up there. But I think, if at all possible, we really need to try to get there in 2027.
Yeah, this is it's super cool. I'm with you on that, man. I did the Mothman thing. Didn't go through the museum, but I was able to stop there and check that out in West Virginia. And I'd be remiss to not go to this, especially with my my Jersey roots. So
yeah.
All right. Let's close up with some sports. We'll touch on everything. Let's touch Sixers first. Good shot, made the playoffs. Congratulations. Embiid plays every other game still. I don't.
Fair, to be fair, he had his appendix taken out.
I know.
So I'm gonna give him look. I'll be hard on him when it's due, but he did have his appendix taken out. He had surgery, so I'll give him a little bit of a break. But yeah, we need more out of Embiid than what we got.
Yeah, no, I was partially adjusting there, but that's kind of what we've seen from him over the years. But no, cool. They made the playoffs. Whatever is what it is. Unfortunately, got bounced out. But it is what it is. Flyers
had an outstanding season. Got further than anybody expected them to get. Very young core. Guys like Porter Martone coming in, and at the very end of the season, he played, I think, 6 games before the playoffs, and he lit them on fire, and enough so that he was able to power them past he and Vladar and a couple other young guys were able to push them past the Penguins in the first round. They get swept in the second round by the Carolina Hurricanes. But look, man, the Hurricanes are, no pun intended, the Hurricanes are a force. And they're the team that I think is going to end up at least going to the Cup from the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, I watched a bit of the playoffs, and man, Flyers, nice, young, hungry team. I enjoyed it. Great to see them get through Pittsburgh. What a great series that was too. Just to, hey, you know what? Put that nail in the Sidney Crosby coffin in the playoffs. That was nice. Kind of get by the Penguins. Always good to beat Pittsburgh, no matter what sport it is.
Oh yeah.
Carolina, yeah, you're right though. Just the ridiculous team. So yeah, that was always going to be pushing it. So
yeah.
But no, great season from the Flyers. Let's talk football, because right now we're currently in baseball season. So let's get to the football. I'm curious. We didn't talk about this at all, and we've done full episodes on this stuff. What did you think of the draft for the Birds, man?
I love the draft. I think that Mekhi Lemon is going to be a good receiver for us, good number 2. Devontae Smith's going to step up, take his rightful role as the number 1 receiver. Mekhi Lemon will be the number 2. We'll see what transpires with the trade of A.J. Brown and whether or not we get a number 3 out of that. We did sign some players, made a trade for Dontavian Wicks as well. So that's, receiver set. I think we set ourselves up nicely at tight end for the future with Eli Stowers. I'm excited to see what he can do. And, Markel Bell looks like he's going to be a good offensive lineman. We'll see where he ends up, if he's going to end up at guard or tackle, but, he'll fill in nicely. And they got some, they traded for Jonathan Grenard, who is a good edge rusher. And I think he's going to bounce back and round into form back to double-digit sack guy, which had been his MO prior to last year when he was injured and he only had 3 sacks. But overall, I'm very happy with what they did in the draft, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, we got to see what happens with this A.J. Brown trade that'll be coming up on or after June 1st. The speculation has been forever that he's going to the Patriots, which is probably the most likely outcome, but teams like the Rams, which I think it would be a huge mistake trading to the Rams. Let me get that off my chest right now. But the Rams, the Jaguars, and the Chiefs have been mentioned as potential suitors. I don't know. I still, in my heart of heart, think he ends up in New England.
But, yeah, I do too. If he doesn't end up in New England, I think there's some kind of reunion there with Diggs. That's another conversation. I'm very intrigued by the Jaguars. You and I have talked about this off pod, potentially with Brian Thomas Jr. coming over. Who knows? I don't know. I think the draft went really well. It was definitely a very Howie draft. Very, kind of fill in the pieces. That's what you need to do. I completely agree. Set yourself up for tight end with Stowers. There was. I'm excited to see Lemon step up as the potential number 2 receiver. I don't know what goes on with this AJ Brown thing, other than that he's off the team. I don't know how it's going to shake out. And look. We'll you and I will sit down and we'll do a long form deep dive as we always do with the Eagles season. But this draft was an A for me, definitely an A.
Oh, absolutely. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Uar Bernard.
Yes. I'm excited.
Freak.
Yes, I'm excited. The Eagles always had the tendency to, kind of do that wild card pick. And this gentleman from Africa, no football experience whatsoever. Like, I'm sure he's seen a football, but
Yeah.
that's about it. And this guy, it was a freak at the combine. So you're talking the physical. There's an account I follow on Twitter, and it's RAS Football, and they rank. It's all mathematics, and it's a system. They rank, combine stats and some other things back to players from, I believe it's 87, and they rank them based on position where they follow. And this guy is like a top 50 out of 1,000 and he's never played football. So
Right.
I'm super excited about that one. That's a low risk move to me. What do you have to lose?
Right. You had nothing to lose with it.
So no, excited. We'll talk about that on a full blown Steve Jeltz when we do it. Right now we're in baseball season, and this is hysterical to me because you and I have talked through text about Rob Thompson, and hey, if this ship isn't righted, he's gone by the All-Star break. And boy, Phillies went on quite a bit of a losing streak there, and we kind of jested that, hey, you know what, Don Mattingly's son is kind of in charge of things, and Don Mattingly's now a coach. If Rob slips at any point, the writing was kind of on the wall. So,
yeah, we knew what was going to happen with this one, and it happened, and I think we're both glad that it did because, dude, they were going nowhere quick.
No, Rob was not, not. And look, they've had some stuff. I think Donnie Baseball is 15-7 as the Phillies skipper. And look, it's not him; it's the players. Let's not kid ourselves here. Rob, other than Charlie, was a very winning manager for the Phils. So I got to give him his due. I don't know where the Phillies end up this year. The Braves are an absolute powerhouse in that division. So I do have a feeling that the Braves, are going to walk away with the East. I think the Phillies have a good shot at a wild card spot. I really do, but there's problems with the back end of that rotation. The mid part of that bullpen is awful, and you're still dealing with inconsistencies. Look, Schwarber's been a beast. Harper's been decent. Trey's coming around. Thankfully, Bohm is finally doing some stuff.
Marsh has been
amazing. Yeah, he's been amazing. I know we haven't really seen a lot from Garcia, but truth be told, let's look and see what Nick Castellanos is doing out in San Diego, which is basically worse than
nothing.
Nick Castellanos has been worse than you or I right now. He's got negative WAR. So
Jesus.
So anyway, I don't know where they finished. They're at 500 right now. I don't know. What say you about the Phils here as we close this up?
We'll see, man. I think you're right. I think their ceiling is a wild card position. I think that they dug themselves too big a hole in the beginning of the season to overtake the Braves because the Braves are just ridiculous. But I think they could walk away with the wild card spot. And once you get into the dance, you never know what could happen. You just got to punch your ticket.
Right. And as we record this right now, the Phils are 9 games out. It's not insurmountable by any stretch. I always look at the 2007 Mets as frame of reference. 7 up, 17 left. That's all I'm saying. But that it's weird. You basically have the Braves and then everyone else. The Phillies, Nationals, Mets, and Marlins are all within just a handful of wins of each other. So it's a weird division. But you kind of look around the rest of the National League, and there's really not a lot of parity outside of a couple teams. I know we can crap on the Mets all we want. Realistically, they're only 6 games under 500. And so are the Marlins. And really, your parity is the Giants and the Rockies. The Giants, to me, have massively underperformed. And I hate to say this, but maybe the Phillies were right in not retaining Harrison Bader because he's done absolutely nothing out there. And the Rockies are just a joke. But outside of that, every other team's kind of middling right now. So I think the Phillies have a realistic shot at a wild card. I don't think they have a shot at the division, if I'm being, but it just, they're kind of in a muddled pool right now. So we'll just kind of see where it goes.
Yep.
But you got some words to close us up with?
Fuck the Mets and fuck Dallas.